ask, is it possible that there's a deeper root cause for this dysfunctional pattern or pain? Could it be that my physical body, my mental body, my emotional body, or even my spiritual body has been impacted in some way that's creating or lending credence to or opening the door for this physical expression? You are listening to the Ultimate Biohack for Women, a movement of women who know what they want and go get it. You know the answers lie within. Reach in and grab hold. This is a movement of women who tune in and turn themselves on. Now you're biohacking the woman's way, integrating the art and science of hacking your biology like a woman. Tap your magic, conjure your yes, upgrade, elevate, maximize your potential. I'm Dr. Brandy Victory, and this is a movement that is sure to hack your soul. Hey, tuning into my tribe out there. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. This conversation today is going to be kind of the flip side of our last conversation. So this is kind of, rather than speaking to practitioners particularly, I'm speaking to quote unquote the patient, the person or the lady who's been having some kind of headache or bloating or diarrhea and, think they need to get care for it because it's not quite going away. They can't figure it out. The big question is your symptom your problem? Is your symptom your problem? And it's so common because we get, we're indoctrinated into a medical model here that addresses symptoms. And it leads us to believe that our problems are our symptoms. We're not really taught to explore the deeper levels or the deeper aspects of healing or what may be causing our problems, getting to the root cause of our problems. And so, we're going to speak to that a little bit today, right? A symptom essentially, a symptom is essentially a red flag that your body is giving you so that it can get your attention or so that you can make change. So something you're doing is not working. It's creating disharmony or dysfunction in your body, and your body's going, hey, by the way, I'm here too. Pay attention to me. Let's do something a little bit differently. I often tell people, I'm a big fan of lab work. You know me, I'm micronutrient testing. I'm doing deep brain inflammatory markers. I'm doing all kinds of lab testing that your average American doctor is not going to do because I want to know how to optimize function. But that being said, your body is going to red flag you with a symptom way before it's ever going to show up on lab work. So if you can fine tune your awareness to your body's signals, you're going to be able to adjust and make a change for yourself for the better way faster than any doctor or practitioner is going to be able to do it for you. Coming from the medical perspective, which most Americans are. That's just the reality of it. We're taught that to take a pill to make it better. We look and expect essentially instant results. And we expect our doctors to take care of us or to make it better. We also expect that whatever dosage the doctor is going to prescribe is what is creating our recovery. And, there is a lot to be said for using a crutch when our leg is broke. There is a lot to be said for that. I had to be on medication, and I'm glad I had it when I did. I'm also glad to be off of it because our problem is never a lack of medication. Your problem is never a lack of medication, okay? So, I'm sure if you've had a headache or diarrhea or something like that, you've probably taken a medication, an Advil or an Imodium or something like that to stop the symptom. But what happens for many people is that doesn't get to the root cause, so the symptom never goes away. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. So then we're like, oh gosh, what's wrong with me? Why won't this go away? If you're that person that's had irritable bowel syndrome, then you've been like, well, it's when I eat this particular food. And then you find out, well, you stop eating, gluten, and then you find out it's corn. And then you stop eating corn, and then you find out that it's blueberries. And you stop eating blueberries, and you find out that it's celery. And, it never really gets better. And you find, many people find themselves, I see this often, having such a limited diet that it's very difficult to shift that, because we've got to, first of all, we've got to heal the gut. But in order to heal the gut, we've got to give them things to heal the gut. And they're so intolerant of so many things that it's a very slow, strategic process to get the healing to happen without creating an inflammatory or dysfunctional state in the body. So, listen to your red flags, okay? Listen to your red flags. Listen to your body. Be aware. Obviously there is I bumped my head or I bruised my leg, and it's a physical problem. We've done something to our physical body. But my teacher would actually encourage us to think about what set us up to allow that physical problem to happen. So if everything is energy and your physical experience is an expression of your energetic experience, there's an energetic blueprint that sets up and creates the foundation or basis for our physical experience. Just like for the blueprint for a house. We build a house, we have a blueprint. The blueprint helps us create the house. We see how to build it. Your physical experience is built on your energetic blueprint. If you've got disharmony or dysfunction or something missing or something blocking or something else that's in the blueprint that's causing your disharmony in your physical body or setting you up for hitting your head or bruising your leg, then the idea is that we go back to the energetic blueprint and shift the blueprint. So beyond that, beyond the, I hit my head and my head hurts, beyond that physical experience, reaching into the chronic pain, the fatigue, the anxiety, depression, hypothyroidism, back pain that seems to keep returning without even a good reason. You go in and just ask, is it possible that there's a deeper root cause for this dysfunctional pattern or pain? Could it be that my physical body, my mental body, my emotional body, or even my spiritual body has been impacted in some way that's creating or lending credence to or opening the door for this physical expression? And we label our dysfunction and our pain as bad, but if we can stop judging ourselves around that stuff and recognize that it's simply a pattern, that it's simply an expression of something deeper, then we can actually allow ourselves to go into the depths of that and heal it at the root. And that's the whole essence of the work that we do for ourselves if we want to heal. So, being that you are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, it certainly could be that your problem is rooted in any of these places, okay? So we're not taught in our society to look at anything but the physical. And if that's all you're doing, if as a practitioner, if you're just treating the symptom or a physical complaint, you're doing your patients a disservice. And patient and people and ladies and loved ones, if that's what you're doing, if you're going to the doctor to treat a symptom, you're doing yourself a disservice. And it's time to make a change, okay? Now, you may not be, if you're a practitioner, you may not be well versed at all of those areas. So refer out to practitioners who do that type of work. I refer out all the time. I love my acupuncturist. I love my pelvic floor person, Jenn Lane. Thank you very much. My acupuncturist, Beth Kearns. High five. I've done interviews with both of those ladies. I'll put links to them in the show notes so you can actually have access to them. But those are wonderful people. I refer out all the time to different kinds of people, and it's important because there's never one path. There's never one path. But if we can help our patients with what our true gifts and not try to be something we're not, we're going to serve people in the greatest way, and our patients are going to get better. All right. And so for my non-practitioner friends, again, this invitation is just an invitation to look deeper. All right. I have a patient in Indiana. We're going to call her Susan. And Susan has had chronic neck pain. She had tried massage and chiropractic and physical therapy and all the things, but and all that stuff helped, but it kept coming back. So when I began working with her, I wanted to know, like, when did this begin? And what she told me is that it began about 2 years ago, and it was after her divorce. So through a couple of questions and in talking to her, I found out that there was, after her divorce, she fell and hit her head, and the next day is when her neck hurt. And so she thought that the fall and hitting her head was what hurt her neck. So of course she's going to think this is a physical injury, right? But what we uncovered through our processes together was that there was an emotional trauma of the divorce, of course, right? And then there was this aspect of stubbornness to never look back. So if you think about that, not being able to look back, not being able to turn your head and look back because your neck is painful, there may be an emotional, like for her, there was this emotional trauma that she was like, I am not going back. I am not looking back. I am done. I am over, because it was really hard for her to get out of the marriage. But then she did, and she was never going to look back. And then I was like, ooh, you're never going to look back. Imagine that. And your neck hurts, right? There was also intense inflexibility of holding her boundaries while going through the divorce that were being held in her neck. So what was happening is that she was looping that storyline. She was looping the stubbornness to never look back, the intense inflexibility. She was just kept looping at over and over and over again. So she would get some physical therapy or a chiropractic session, and then she somehow, on a subconscious level, remember this, your subconscious is built for survival, right? So it's going to keep you alive. It breathes us. It beats our heart. It causes us to run when a bear or lion is chasing us, right? Or when we need to get out of an emergency, we go. We need to pick a car up off a baby. We pick it up. Like, we get this extra crazy strength because our subconscious is just turning on all the things, firing us up in such a way that keeps us alive. And so the subconscious is doing its job, and it feels like somehow it believes, because this has been the experience, and all of our experiences and beliefs are stored in the subconscious. And the subconscious runs our body based on those belief systems, based on those experiences, based on the trauma, so that it can keep us alive, right? And so when she would do anything that would threaten her survival, the subconscious would say, hey, don't forget about me, neck pain. Because it's just looping that story over and over and over again, okay? She doesn't have to be thinking about the pain. She doesn't have to be thinking about inflexibility. She doesn't have to be thinking about the divorce. It just shows up because it loops and replays the storyline over and over and over again, because the subconscious does not recognize time. The subconscious just is. And it doesn't know that yesterday was yesterday, tomorrow's a new day. It just knows everything is now in the subconscious intelligence. And so it's working based on all of your traumas, emotional experiences, and things like that. Okay. So I took her through multiple sessions where we kept pulling back the layers energetically and reprogramming her subconscious so it could realize and express a new storyline. And now she's pain free, which is awesome, right? But that's what it takes sometimes to get down to the real truth of what your problem is, right? I think I might title this episode, What's Your Problem? Or What's the Problem? What's your problem? Because we think it's one thing. We think it's our symptoms so often because we're just trained that way. But really, there's so many layers, right? So this is a story about a woman who leaped out of her marriage into a more potent, authentic self. Yet the trauma and memories were holding her back. It's, because when we're in pain, it limits our creative flow. I don't know if you've ever been in pain, but I've had back pain before. I've been in all different kinds of pain, but I remember back pain was just taking me out of my game, right? And so if you've got something going on like that, even if you can't recognize it, even if it's just like on a real subtle level, it's just like this subtle knee pain or this subtle headache or this subtle stomach pain. I mean, those things they take your energy, they steal your creative flow. But when you can remove those triggers and those root causes on a subconscious, emotional, energetic level, or on whatever level it needs to be removed from, then you can step more fully into your truth. So for her, she's now, she opened a salon actually, and she's wanted to do that for a very long time, but she was having trouble quitting her job, right? So yeah, yay for her, yay for her. So if you're ready to leap into your more potent and authentic self, I highly recommend you join me and Molly Douglas on the Embodied Feminine Empowered Soul Workshop on March 19th, 2020. It's $27 and 2 hours of your time, and it's going to be a freaking amazing, awesome show and event, and you're going to break through some stuff, I'm sure of that. So that's coming up, so get registered. And we will record it, so if you can't make the live event, you'll still be able to get the recording and imbibe in the juiciness. I will certainly put a link to register in the show notes there. All right, so if you're dealing with a dysfunction, be it pain, irritable bowel, thyroid or hormonal stuff, fatigue, just look deeper than your symptom. Just look deeper than that. Understand your feelings and emotions about it. So, if you've got something, I'm trying to think of something right now, like what might I have? I don't know. Like if you got a back pain, you're like, oh man, this back pain just gets me down, right? Well, that's your feelings about it. It gets you down. So what can you do to get yourself up? Or what else in your life is getting you down? And so if everything's a reflection of everything, there must be something in your life that's getting you down. And I would just bet that if you addressed that, then the back pain might relieve itself. I don't know. It's an option, right? Once you get clear about that stuff, all your beliefs about it and that kind of thing, and process it through, and then you can realize what that dysfunctional state or pattern is gifting you, because it's all a gift. I certainly never want to do it again. I never want to go back into bipolar manic depression. I never want to go back into chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia. I never want to do it again, but I'll be forever grateful for all of those experiences, because I got to heal lots of trauma. I got to heal a lot of stuckness. I got to make massive change in my life and begin stepping into my greatest truth so I can live a more potent life on this planet. All right. And I get to also share how to do this with other people. I mean, it's my life's calling, and I'm so grateful, right? And so every single experience you have, it doesn't matter what it is a gift. So once you can get clear on why you have it, get to the root, clear it out, you can actually find the gift in that, right? So the other thing is, how can you be grateful for your process? It's so much easier to find gratitude after it's over, right? But the sooner you can find it, the quicker you'll move out of it. So one of the things, if you're in the throes of something right now, like some kind of pain pattern, some kind of headaches, some kind of anything that's not serving you, that's a challenge for you, sit down right now with your journal, or as soon as you can with your journal, and write down, how is this a gift? 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 How is this serving me? How is this serving me? How is this serving me? You may come up with things like, well, I don't have to talk to this person, or I don't have to work too hard, or I get to work from home instead, or I don't have to whatever, you may come up with that stuff. And that's great, because that's all information that's going to lead you towards what you truly desire in your life. All right. And then you also might find that, wow, this is helping me become stronger. This is helping me be a better leader for my family. This is helping me learn things that are going to be pertinent for my children, or something like that. Right. So just ask, where is the gift? And just find gratitude in your process, right? And speaking of gratitude, I am totally grateful to you, my friends, and I look forward to our next chat, or seeing you at the Embodied Feminine Empowered Soul Workshop on 3/19. Again, that link is below. I'll also put a link to the episode I did with Molly. If you didn't hear that episode, she's amazing. You should check it out because you may be inspired to join us once you hear her beautiful voice and message. And may your well-being journey be blessed. And may you realize the goodness in all of your experiences. Much love to you, my beautiful ladies. And we'll catch you next time. Mwah. Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Biohack for Women. If you'd like to dive deeper with our tribe, join us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you'd like to help grow our tribe, share this episode with your friends. Let's bring this light to our community so that other women can know their true power and we can create a tribe together worth being in.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.